You're listening to a Countout Podcast.
Hello, people of Earth, and hello, people of the New Japan Pro Wrestling fandom. I'm your good friend Curtis Spears, back with another Okada Shorts short. This is not a G Wondering. This is a Rev Pro 11th year anniversary show review. Your bad friend Rafe Houston is not going to be on this episode. He is currently at Deathmatch Down Under in Melbourne, Australia. He does not have the time to get on and talk about a show he didn't get to watch, but I went ahead and I reached into the ether of Twitter and I pulled out a little bit of a superstar here in the New Japan Wrestling Twitter world. So let me introduce everyone here to Will Ospreay's best friend and TV Asahi's worst enemy, Ciaran RH. How you doing today, buddy? Ciaran?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad you said TV Asahi's worst enemy. I wouldn't say New Japan Superstar. Perhaps New Japan's number one, public enemy number one.
Public enemy number one. Is it? Let me ask you a question. I think I saw this happen the other day. Did they copyright strike their own material when you retweeted it?
So no. So what they do is like, so obviously you can embed tweets and stuff, like embed videos from other accounts on Twitter. So you can share a New Japan World tweet on your own tweet by embedding it, and it links back to New Japan World. But if I do it for old tweets, they will now delete their own videos instead.
Oh,
so like if I'm posting a clip from years ago of maybe something cool happened in the G1 years ago, and I embed that video from their own tweet, they will delete their tweet instead of just like letting me replug it and then get more views and stuff like that.
Bro, what is the Japanese word for petty? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's wild. I totally understand like not wanting your live stuff clipped and everything. Like why pay if you can see it all over Twitter, right? There's an understanding to that, but your old content and stuff, I think like surely that's just free publicity. But
yeah, if you've put it out there, then maybe you should be okay with people looking at it. But you know, the fuck do I know?
Yeah, exactly.
So for those who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your villain origin story, and how you got into New Japan and things like that?
Yeah, so I'm Ciaran RH at Ciaran RH93 on Twitter. I got into New Japan back in 2014. Went to my first independent show. It had guys like Will Ospreay versus Ricochet was on the card, the Young Bucks. But then it was my second independent show. It was Rev Pro since day one for me. And on that card was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Ooh. And I saw Shinsuke Nakamura make his entrance. He had the red leather jacket. He's kicking his legs. He's being the coolest guy in the world. And I was just like, who the hell is this guy? He just, you know, that first experience when you see Shinsuke Nakamura and he's just got something about him that no one else does. So I Googled him, what's New Japan and what's this and what's that? And then I just dove in head first, man. And I've been a fan ever since. But yeah, and then on Twitter, just posting lots of GIFs, lots of clips, like trying to, you know, I love New Japan and I just post as much as I can about it. And it's just often it's not clips because I'll get in trouble.
And a lot of it is news and like insight and things like that I see as well. I follow a couple of Puro groups on Facebook, and I always see, like, I'll be scrolling through Facebook and I see Ciaran's tweets pop up in different groups, and I'm like, oh, that's my boy right there.
It's weird. I don't really use Facebook aside from a couple of groups to keep up with stuff, but for some reason Facebook knows I'm a wrestling fan. Don't know how. And it will show me, like, you know, Facebook's just full of recommendations and stuff like that, isn't it? And I'll sometimes see my own posts come up on people on like random stuff, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. And it's always in like some stupid account, like they say something stupid, and I'm like, don't use my tweet for that. Come on.
There's one group specifically where I see at least one of your tweets a day, from usually from a dude named Cordell, who is a really cool, really thoughtful guy. I don't know him personally, but everything I've seen, he's always posting. So Cordell, your number one fan, shout out friend of the podcast, Cordell. I hope he listens to that. That'd be funny. Just randomly listening, going, "Oh my god!" So we're here to talk about Rev Pro's 11th anniversary show. So anyone who is into New Japan, they know that New Japan reaches out to other promotions to do their excursions for their young lions, to send some of their wrestlers out to help them out for bigger shows and things like that. Rev Pro is one where almost every Rev Pro show you can see at least one New Japan wrestler or a young lion on excursion or something like that. Recently we've had Yoda Tsuji was here for a while. Let's see, Ren was here for a little bit, right?
I think Ren had a match or two, but yeah, Suji and Shota Umino had like their entire excursions in the UK.
Yeah, and I mean, like that's dating all the way back to, I think from the time Rev Pro started, they've had people coming in and out. Hikuleo was here for a long time,
Yeah,
and things
Hikuleo
like
was
that.
here on excursion. Yeah, I think like I don't know if it was their first show, but one of their very first shows, they had Liger on the card, which was obviously a huge get at any time in the past 30, 40 years if you're getting Liger on your card.
That's where I got my Liger autograph sitting up on the wall there at the Rev Pro show.
Yeah, no. So like they've had the relationship with New Japan has been strong for a long time, clearly, and it's only gotten stronger with like the Rev Pro British title appearing. You know, Shibata holding it, defending it in Japan, like Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. It's become a big part of the New Japan legacy.
Well, you can definitely talk about some of the Rev Pro heavyweight champions, the British heavyweight champions that have been in New Japan wrestlers. You said Shibata, Okan, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Tomohiro
Suzuki.
Ishii, Minoru Suzuki. Like there is a deep, like, passionate partnership with Rev Pro, and yeah, Rev Pro may not be CMLL, and it's definitely not AEW, but it is a great homegrown promotion that we've seen just this past weekend has a very faithful following when they packed 4,000 plus people into the Copperbox Arena, a building that New Japan has run in the past, and New Japan I think pulled almost 8,000 at that arena.
Yeah, it sounds about. I'm pretty sure I saw someone say that when people were speculating how much Rev Pro might, how the capacity Rev Pro might pull. I think 8,000 probably sounds about right.
Yeah, it was Royal Quest 1 where they had Suzuki versus Okada for the title. That was the last New Japan show in England for almost 3 years, and now they've had Royal Quest 2. They're coming back next month in October for Royal Quest 3, and very excited to talk about that. We will be in the end. But let's go ahead and we'll talk about the Rev Pro British the Rev Pro 11th anniversary show, and we'll discuss some of the places where it ties into New Japan, and we'll talk about some of the things that New Japan fans might find interesting about Rev Pro that hasn't quite crossed over yet.
Yeah.
So we opened up first with the undercard, which was a undisputed British women's title #1 contender pre-show battle royal. That's a mouthful. So Danny Luna won this. Danny Luna of Subculture won over Alexis Falcon, Chantal Jordan, Maya Matthews, Mercedes Blaze. I can never say Reigns' last name.
Leverkusen, isn't it?
That's the one. Leverkusen. Rio, Sapphire Reed, Sky Blue, and Sky Smith. And Sky Blue from AEW, a very surprise entrance. Everyone was really excited to see her. This was a lot of fun. I'm my wife's a big Danny Luna fan. I was excited to see Mercedes Blaze back. She's been out of wrestling a little bit, and it was really cool to see her come back. So you're very familiar with a lot of these ladies. You go to every Rev Pro show, right? Or everyone in London.
Yeah, I do all the big shows. I certainly don't miss a York Hall show. Other shows, it's kind of dependent on the card. Like I'm thinking about doing the latest 229 show. It's got Gabe Kidd versus Leon Slater. I'm potentially exactly. I'm potentially gonna go to that. But yeah, no, I don't miss a York Hall show. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now, do you have any favorites that you saw in this match? I know that like some of them are more established than others, of course, like Sky Blue is a wrestler on American TV, but like Sky Smithson, Danny Luna, they're people that are constantly in Rev Pro, constantly making noise there. And Maya Matthews is someone who's on the come up. She's kind of like the young lioness for Rev Pro.
Yeah, she's got a story going on with Alex Windsor following the last York Hall show. Alex Windsor fooling everyone, turning out to be a bit of a baddie and laying out Maya Matthews in the ring post match. Obviously, yeah, Sky Blue was awesome. You know, to get to that was a great moment to really kick this show into gear and let you know this was going to be a big and fun night. That pop for Sky Blue was fantastic, and yeah, you know, it was a fun match, like you said. It was just. I'm glad it happened because these women deserve to be on the card. Lots of them are at every Rev Pro show, you know, week in and week out. And, you know, there's not much room for matches outside of the title matches on a Rev Pro show. So, yeah, getting these guys on the card, it was a nice moment for them all.
It definitely was. Okay, so we'll move on to the actual card here. We've got the opening match, the young dynamo Leon Slater against one half of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champions Dan Maloney of the Bullet Club War Dogs. This had a big fight feel to it, eh? Like Leon Slater, he's got a lot of noise recently after his match with Will Ospreay. He's definitely someone who people need to be on the lookout for because the kid he's made of magic. He does remind me a lot of a younger Ospreay with the things that he's able to do that can just blow your hair back. And Dan Maloney, who's a Rev Pro staple at this point, he's been in Rev Pro for many years with a mini excursion into the WWE system, coming out with like someone rapping his way to the ring, like coming out looking like an absolute world beater. It ends in 7 minutes and 5 seconds. Leon Slater beats Dan Maloney. Where do you think this is going? Could we see Leon Slater make some noise like in a New Japan ring in like part of maybe like a Super Junior Tag League or something?
I think Leon Slater has all the potential in the world, man. Like the fact he's so good already, and it's just like that raw potential as well, where he's so amped, he's so excitable. Like, you know, he's kind of a million miles an hour. He probably needs someone to come in and be like, you know, slow it down a bit sometimes because he's just like, he's a kid. He's like so young, but like the shooting star 450 is just, it's beautiful. Like, I don't know how it's possible, but it's one of the prettiest moves you will see in pro wrestling today. I was shocked he got a win over Dan Maloney as well. I figured, you know, they had a little bit of a story coming into this as well, which I liked. But yeah, Dan's, you know, he's off to bigger and better things. He's just made his Impact debut. Of course, he's going to be back in Japan defending the tag titles alongside Clark Connors. But yeah, Leon Slater I think he has to be in New Japan at some point. It
has to be.
It's a no-brainer. Like, yeah, Super Junior Tag League would be ideal to get him in. Maybe Best of the Super Juniors, it's too soon for something like that. Like, you know, if a guy like Michael Oku still isn't making Best of the Super Juniors. But yeah, Super Junior Tag League, that's a great shout, man. Get him in there. I don't know who you're teaming with, but you could put him with Taguchi or whatever. Just stick him with any good guy.
Yeah, really. So let's talk about the bit of the story that they had going into this match. The Leon Slater and Dan Maloney used to be friends. Slater had a singles match with Will Ospreay. Will was looking for Dan Maloney after he turned on the United Empire, and Will bullied Leon Slater in a fantastic match. And afterwards calls out Maloney, says, "If I can get to your friends, I can get to you." So Maloney hit him with the Drilla Killa and says, "Then we ain't friends no more." Seemed like he was doing Leon Slater a solid there, I think, to stop the elbows coming down from Will Ospreay. But Leon took offense to it, and they had this great blow off match at a huge event for Rev Pro. I loved it. I was at this point, I was already in my seat rocking. I could see across the aisle where you were at. You were rocking. Everybody was feeling it, and Leon Slater, I think he reminds me so much of the young Ospreay watching him. Like that sort of awe that you felt watching Will Ospreay in like 2017. I think I feel that when I see Leon Slater.
Yeah, and I think the good thing is that there is now a Will Ospreay who's taken the kind of didn't take an easy path. He's got himself into shit. He said stupid shit. He's done stupid shit. He had, said it on AEW Dynamite recently. Chris Jericho gave him a call and said, you need to pump the brakes a little bit. And, Ospreay can now be that person for this next generation. He's taking Callum Newman to Japan. He's, like you said, Leon Slater is just, the potential is unbelievable. Like Will Ospreay, he's very reminiscent of Will Ospreay, and Will Ospreay can lead these guys. And I think that was the same with, didn't Will face like Nick Wayne, maybe something like that last year.
Yes, yeah, he did.
And again, like, it's one of those, like, Will can now be a mentor for these guys, which is crazy to think when we think about the stupidity of a younger Will Ospreay. But now to see him now, it's so heartwarming to know just how much of a responsible adult he's become. He's a stepdad now, as he said on Dynamite.
He's stepdad to a 4-year-old kid, and evidently a whole gaggle of like 18-year-olds soon to be superstars. It's wild to think that some of these guys might have grown up watching Will Ospreay, and at that point, I feel like my bones turned to dust, and I get Thanos snapped into Eternium. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the next match, which was the Rev Pro Undisputed British Cruiserweight 6-way scramble match. Woo, there's a lot of words in these coming up here. So this was the champion Connor Mills defeating Callum Newman, the United Empire Young Lion, Jordan Breaks, Robbie X, Shaw Samuels, and Wild Boar. I didn't know Shaw Samuels was a cruiserweight.
He's not a cruiserweight.
He's so thick.
Never in a million years is Shaw Samuels a fucking cruiserweight.
No way.
No chance.
So this was a lot of fun. Another match that can get people like rocking right away. Callum Newman came out, with his official United Empire entrance, which was really cool. People seem to be going shithouse for Wild Boar. He was a lot of fun to watch. Just a tiny, thick man throwing people around and being an absolute like madman.
He's just got big, like, dwarf Lord of the Rings vibes to him. And I love it.
Absolutely. The guy next to me it was someone I didn't know. He's sitting next to me and he goes, that guy's come straight out of the mines of Moria.
Yes. That's perfect.
Robbie X, the former champion who was beaten by Connor Mills. Robbie X has been on TV with what was it? World of Sport, when they did the World of Sport revamp. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's really gotten himself into great shape recently. He's looking slim. He's looking fast. Really like him. And Jordan Breaks, one of those people that since I've come into the world of the British wrestling scene, he was at the first show that I ever went to, which was a Battle Pro show in like 2018. So I followed his career with great interest. All of these guys, I mean, Connor Mills was on that show as well. As Michael Oku, the current Rev Pro champion is. All of these guys are people that I've seen so many times, and it was really fun to see them kind of interact. I don't think there was a lot of New Japan flavor in this one outside of Callum Newman, but I do kind of wonder how some of these guys haven't made more of themselves. Jordan Breaks seems to have a good connection with the fans. Connor Mills in his new evil heel persona, I think has a lot of fun times ahead. But Callum Newman, big things going. Can you talk to us about Callum Newman a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's kind of wild to me that he is going to Japan. To be perhaps a bit harsh, I feel like that's a bit too soon. Like, I like him, but I think he could slot into, like, you could replace him with any other flippy guy to an extent. I feel like he's flippy guy number 125. But I always say as well, I think when you, I'm sure you've experienced as well, Curtis, when you see a guy you've watched on the UK scene for so long and they get that one tour of Japan under the belt and then they come back, the evolution is incredible. Just how they seem more confident in the ring, how much they've improved. Like Alex Windsor winning the title against Makito and TJPW. She comes back to Pro Wrestling Eve. She just looks so much better. Riho got a tour of done some TJPW shows as well. They just seem like it just does a world of good for them. But I suppose it's wrestling 24/7 there. They're in the dojo, they're training. It's different. So I think it could do a world of good for Callum Newman. And at the end of the day, Will Ospreay obviously likes him. Will Ospreay sees something good in him. Otherwise, he doesn't invite him into Giant Empire. He doesn't work to get this kid over to Japan. So, I'm very ready to be proved wrong here. Like, obviously I want Callum Newman to do good, but Jordan Breaks for me, man. He's the one in this match. Like,
Oh, he's so much fun.
I'm jealous of the fact that you've been watching him for so many years. My first exposure to him was the Revolution Rumble earlier this year, where
Really?
yeah, like I maybe I'd seen him somewhere else and I just wasn't aware of it. Maybe I don't know, but he had that face off in the Revolution Rumble with Zack Sabre Jr. and it was like watching Zack Sabre Jr. wrestle himself.
It really is.
I was like, this is incredible. And then they had that singles match at York Hall as well. I can't remember what Epic Encounter, yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. Jordan Break. And again, it was literally like the second coming of Zack Sabre Jr. It's like he's wrestling a mirror version of himself. And I've said it time and time again. I think Zack Sabre Jr. is the best wrestler in the world.
Yeah.
Like, so to see Jordan Breaks be on Zack's level, to be one-upping Zack, to be doing this technical stuff, I've instantly fallen in love with Jordan Breaks, man. I'm so ready and rooting for this guy to explode and do well.
And it's just so different to see a cruiserweight who's, yeah, he's fast, but he's not lightning quick like some of these guys. Yeah, he can, move well around the ring, but he's not doing it on his head. He's doing it with his head. He's doing it by grabbing a hold, turning you around, and tying you in a knot, just like Zack Sabre Jr. used to do. That's a great comparison. Yeah, I think he's a ton of fun to watch. You can really see what the crowd, they get behind him, but
yeah,
they get behind him in a weird way where they just really like sit and they watch and they stare intently and they study what he's doing because he's a ton of fun to watch.
I think as well, like, to get ahead of myself a bit here, but like, that's why I'm excited about Kosei Fujita once he leaves his excursion and goes back, because he will be a junior, and New Japan scene does not have a technical junior. He's going to stand out, and he's going to be so exciting in that division, just tying people up in knots, like a junior version of Zack Sabre Jr. in the New Japan Junior Heavyweight division. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, Fujita, and we'll use this as a jumping point to our next match, which was JJ Gale defeating Kosei Fujita in 9 minutes and 4 seconds. Fujita reminded me a lot in this moment as like a young Shohei Ohtani. I'm not sure how far you've gone back into the New Japan archives and watched Shohei Ohtani matches, but like, he's got that same sort of build. He's got that same sort of dynamism. He's got that same sort of like eye of the tiger mentality. It just reminded me a lot of seeing something like that. And if he's half of what Shohei Ohtani is, he's going to be huge. So it was really fun to see him right now as he takes his first step. I think this was what, second, third match on Excursion. Like this was his first match in England. He's a baby. He's a baby going into the world, and it was so cool to see.
Yeah, I'm such a big fan of him. Like what they've done, putting him into TMDK as a young lion, having Zack training him mid-match, like Kosei Fujita's locking on a wrist lock, and Zack's like, "No, tag me in. I'll show you how to do it." And then Kosei Fujita's studying from the ring apron, like fantastic. And yeah, I think that there's all the potential in the world for him. He looks like a stud as well. So handsome. He's chiseled to hell. He's got everything going for him, man. Like, I'm so excited for him to, like, as well, having an Australian excursion. That's never happened before. That's really cool.
Yeah,
like,
it's very cool.
He might pick up and come back different to any other young lion. He's going to pick up a few tricks that no one else has before.
Well, I mean, right now training with, you want to talk about someone that you can train as a junior, tying people in knots. He's down there with Robbie Eagles right now. Dude, yeah, like study from the master, the Limb Reaper, Robbie Eagles. Absolutely chef's kiss. I'm not impressed with JJ Gale. I mean, you said that you think Callum Newman is like flippy guy number one. That's JJ Gale to me. There's a couple of people on this card that have never impressed me. We'll get to it, but yeah, I think JJ Gale, for what he is, had a good showing here, but I think my sentiments about JJ Gale can be summed up by what Zack said. JJ came out, he challenged Zack to a match, and Zack said, "No, I'm going to give you my young lion," and I think that was ultimately fair.
Yeah, they're clearly. I imagine from this win, JJ goes on to face Zack Sabre Jr. But yeah, I agree. It's not a match I'm looking forward to. I'm surprised JJ Gale has been pushed this hard by Rev Pro, because a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago, he was like a Rev Pro contender, the equivalent to a New Japan Young Lion. And now, yeah, he's being put into a story with Zack Sabre Jr., which I'm sure many independent wrestlers on the UK scene would kill to get into the ring with Zack Sabre Jr. in a singles match, let alone have a story built over multiple shows with Zack Sabre Jr. building to that match. But yeah, I think JJ Gal's he's just very fine. He's not aggressively good. He's not aggressively bad. And I suppose being fine isn't a great thing in wrestling. You either want people to remember you because you're doing maybe you're so bad on purpose that people remember you, or maybe you're just so great. But he doesn't get any attention either way, I don't feel.
Yeah, I think there's we'll maybe we can see something different from him in this evolution, and we can see where he goes from here. He is still a young guy. He's got plenty of room to grow, and they're putting a lot of faith in him. So, we'll see. The next match.
Let's go.
You went shit house. Okay. So, first out come the War Dogs, David Finlay and Gabe Kidd with Ghetto. We get to see the leader of Bullet Club and David Finlay. And it's true. Then we all get to chant ELP over and over and over and over again as the song tells us to do. And then finally, the strings start.
Finally.
Oh my goodness. I've never seen Shibata live. He wasn't wrestling in Rev Pro when I got here and found out about it. But man, that was a thing. It was a thing, wasn't it?
The moment. The cheers for him before he was coming out and everything. Just like the two biggest pops of the night were Will Ospreay's entrance and there's Katsuyori Shibata entrance over the Chris Jericho appearance, I think. But yeah, man, like I'd chew anyone's ear off speaking about Shibata forever. My favorite wrestler, bar none. So yeah, the fact that I get to watch him wrestle again, and the fact that Rev Pro brought him over, I'm just so grateful they brought that man over for this match.
How sad do you feel knowing that he is like currently ROH contracted wrestler Katsuyori Shibata instead of New Japan wrestler Katsuyori Shibata? What is in your heart of hearts?
It's a difficult one because obviously you shouldn't take it for granted. Like the fact that the man is lucky to be alive, let alone to be healthy, let alone to be walking, let alone to be fucking wrestling. Like I don't want
the level he's wrestling.
Exactly. Like I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. Like it's a privilege and we're lucky. And the fact that Tony Khan is letting him wrestle regularly, he wrestled a Rev Pro and then he's wrestling at All Out and he's having often appearances on Ring of Honor shows and every Ring of Honor pay-per-view. And the pure division works for him. Like as much as Katsuyori Shibata would love to headbutt and, knock people's heads off with a forearm, he's a technical boy too. He always has been. He loves these submissions. He tried out MMA and stuff like that. So him being, I'm always going to prefer he's in the pure division, having these Ring of Honor matches, than not wrestling at all. Then knowing he could wrestle and he's not. At least Tony Khan has given him that platform. So of course, I wish it was full-blooded Shibata and he was in the New Japan ring and he was knocking people's heads off. But I think there's always going to be that bit of fear as well and trepidation of, you just never, where anytime he takes a nasty blow, it's always going to seem so much worse when it's happening to him than any other wrestler.
Yeah, that is scary. I mean, when you see what head injuries can do to your favorite sports heroes and things like that. I was watching a documentary about concussions in the National Hockey League the other day, and about the way mistreated concussions ruin the career of a generational talent of Eric Lindros, who was a player in the early 2000s. It is scary, and it wasn't a concussion when Shibata went down. It was a subdural hematoma, which is light years worse, but any head injury is just absolutely pants-shittingly terrifying.
So yeah, I mean, when that happened, if you had told me in a few years I'd be able to watch him back in a Rev Pro ring in the UK again, we all would have taken that. We all would have taken seeing him back in the ring in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, I'm just happy to get to see him and got to meet him at the Rev Pro meet and greet.
Yeah, it really was great to see him. And El Phantasmo coming out, saying, "I'm finally back home." I mean, he is a Canadian fella, but yeah, he cut his teeth here. So
he's adopted British at this point, man. He cut his teeth on the Rev Pro, man. He got his big break because of Rev Pro, and we loved him in Rev Pro. He was a baby face back in Rev Pro. He'd come out with the sunglasses on, the glasses, and they'd be lighting up, and you'd have people in the front row doing the same. The dude was so wildly popular in Rev Pro. It was a great homecoming for him as well.
Yeah, great match, great moment, and good feelings all around, eh? So let's go to the next match. Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Ricky Knight Jr. Battle of the Juniors. Zack gets to keep the junior at the end of his name. This match for me was one of my favorites of the night. I mean, I think Wrestler Observer gave it like 4.5, but I don't care about Ricky Knight. I think Ricky Knight Jr., just like you said, I call him create a wrestler number 30. You know, he's just like that default guy. Every move he does is someone else's signature move that he's just doing it because he thinks it looks cool. His gear is very plain, like there's nothing special about it. He's got red trunks and a green jacket. Like, can you not color coordinate a little bit here, dude? I just, everything about him, I look at him and I just go, oh my god, this guy again. He looks like when you're 16 and you're like, if I was a wrestler, I'd be so fucking cool and I'd look like that guy. But it doesn't do it for me. I think he's got talent. He's definitely the British Randy Orton, but like, I didn't like Randy Orton either. So
no, I'm on the same boat here. Create a wrestler is actually the perfect description for him. People adore him at Rev Pro shows, and it's always kind of bewildered me a bit. I have grown to like him a bit more in recent matches and stuff, in recent appearances. But yeah, he really, there isn't, I don't know how you would describe a Ricky Knight Jr. to someone who hadn't seen him wrestle before. He doesn't have a defining feature. He's not a technical guy like Zack Sabre Jr. He's not a flying guy like Will Ospreay. He's not a superstar in the making like Leon Slater.
there's no power to him. It's just
he is just kind of there. But the people love him, and he is capable in the ring. I think he does just need. He's never going to be the leader in a match. He needs someone to help him out. The Will Ospreay title match, great match. Like you said, against Zack Sabre Jr., great match. But he's in there with two veterans, essentially, who can help lead the way and make that match great.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Zack Sabre Jr., I finally came out with the New Japan World TV belt. He hasn't brought those to the other shows that he's been on this year. So I was excited to see the belt in person. I mean, how much do the people love Zack Sabre Jr.? Like
I said, I think he's the best wrestler in the world. Will Ospreay certainly has, the past month, everything that he's done, the Kenny Omega, the Okada, the Jericho, the Shingo. I think the fact Will Ospreay's got a more global appeal, whereas Zack Sabre Jr. is much more nuanced and it is just New Japan. But given New Japan is the promotion I love most, I'm seeing everything Zack does, so which is why I think he's the best in the world. But yeah, no, Zack is Rev Pro's boy through and through, man. Being champion a few times. When he comes back after a big, those years without Zack Sabre Jr., you really felt it. And then when he finally came back after pandemic, it was like he was never gone. Absolutely love the man endlessly.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of my wife's favorite wrestlers.
My fiance. He is my fiance's favorite wrestler. She was so excited to meet him again.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, my wife after Epic Encounter a couple of weeks ago, she asked me to get her a Zack Sabre Jr. t-shirt, so I got her the Clarky Cat t-shirt from Rev Pro.
Yeah.
And it matches my hurrah another year shirt. Yeah. So that was fun. So great to see Zack Sabre Jr. back. Ricky Knight Jr. kind of a dud, but the match was good. Let's go ahead and move on to the Rev Pro Undisputed British Tag Team title match. Subculture, Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews with Danny Luna defeat the Velocities. That was cool to see the Velocities in person. I've never actually gotten to sit down and see them live. They're Australian, I believe.
Yep. Couple of Aussies.
Yeah, they've I've heard a lot about them. I've dipped my toe into the Australian scene. Of course, Rafe from the show is Australian, so he's got a lot more sense of that scene. But it was really cool to see. I'm not a fan so much of everyone going 110%, everyone doing all the flips all the time. I like to have a little variety, but it seemed like everyone was really into it. I did have friends of mine sending me clips of this match specifically, going, "Oh, that was a cool move. That was a cool move." But sitting there, it kind of felt like this was the one that we were waiting for the next match, because we all knew that was going to be the banger.
Yeah, I think this match, like the live crowd didn't seem very invested in it. They didn't really have any reason to it. It was just a thrown together match. At the end of the day, there wasn't any build. There wasn't any New Japan talent on there. The majority of the people in the crowd had probably never heard of the Velocities before. I do think they are incredible. Like, yeah, they are very much flippy dudes, but they're creative. Like, they do stuff you've probably never seen before. I absolutely love the Velocities. They are awesome. They deserve a break somewhere, like them in Super Junior Tag League. Makes total sense. They're already an actual tag team. But yeah, I love Velocities. I don't have much care for Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews as a team. I think Mark Andrews is fantastic, but I couldn't care less about Flash Morgan Webster. But yeah, I think it was a good match. I think as it was getting towards the end, I was kind of like, I had zoned out myself, and I was like, this has actually been a really good match. It deserved a bit more attention than I'd given it. They really went out there and busted their asses, but
they really did.
It was a match that no one was going to be very invested in.
So this is going to sound like a shithead thing for me to say, but I was sitting between two people I didn't know. One man on the side of me was a very large man, a mountain of a man. The other person on my left was someone who was very, very stinky.
Oh,
very stinky.
It's some dude came and stood next to me for someone's entrance, and I was having to face the other way entirely. I could feel the heat and smell radiating off of this dude. It was and I'd never experienced anything like it in my life.
That person got up and like left during this match, and that was the only time I could fully breathe. So I was not paying as much attention as I should because I was busy catching my breath. Let's go ahead and move on to the next match, which was a lot of people saying the best match of the weekend. Which was Tomohiro Ishii defeating Luke Jacobs in 17 minutes and 58 seconds. This was a fucking banger, eh?
I'm going to be controversial here, Curtis, man.
Whoa, no.
I know. I'm sorry. This isn't what you brought me on here for, but look, I think it was just Ishii match. It was Ishii 101.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I think at this, if you've not seen Ishii before, if Ishii is your favorite wrestler, this is the best match of the weekend. This is one of the matches of the year. And I love Luke Jacobs and I love Tomohiro Ishii, but I knew exactly what this match was going to be. And the live crowd absolutely went bonkers for it. And it makes me sad that I didn't. Like, I wish I had enjoyed it as much as everyone else. Like, I feel like I've just been a bit of I'm being a bit of a negative for no reason. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't really do anything for me. Like, as well, I've got kind of I'm not a massive fan of kickouts at one, like late in the match.
Right.
And I just knew at one point, I don't know who they done it once each. At some point, like Ishii done a move to Luke Jacobs, and I just leant over to my fiance Hazel. I didn't say anything. I just leant over in front of her and I put up my finger. I just put up one finger in front of her, and then he goes for the pin, kicks out at one. Like 2 minutes later, I done it again. Leaned over, stuck up one finger, kicked out at one. I didn't do it any other time. I got them both bang on, but I don't enjoy that. I don't want to, because because we're such big wrestling fans and we kind of like almost study it. Like, it makes me appreciate when it goes off the norm, or I can really get invested and forget that like I really enjoy, like just get invested in the match, the story, everything that's happening. That's the stuff I love. So when I can like be like, I know exactly what's going to happen, it really takes me out of it. But that's definitely me like being on an island, because everyone else loves this and everyone else is definitely right and I'm in the wrong. I'm fully aware of that.
Well, okay, so let's do it this way. What's your favorite like fast food restaurant? Burger King, Mackey's, Subway?
Yeah, like KFC maybe.
KFC? Okay, so the way I put it is, I like Subway. Oh, Hilla's a kitty time. It's kitty time.
Yep.
Kieran's kitty's in the way. What is your cat's name?
That one is Tom Tom, and
Tom.
The kitten is asleep. Yeah, so kind of by proxy, Tom Ishii.
Oh,
coincidentally, good timing. That's why he came over. He heard us talking about Ishii, and he was like, "Oh, they're talking about me."
Yeah. And that has been the Kitty Corner here on the Okada Shorts Wrestling program. So my favorite is Subway. I like to, and if we want to change this for KFC, we can definitely do that. Ishii matches are like when you're at work You go to Subway, you go to KFC on your lunch break twice a week, 3 times a week. You get the same thing
Yep.
and it tastes good every time, but it's not necessarily the best. It's definitely not five-star dining, but like you still get it twice a week because it tastes good and you know exactly what you're going to get. I get the exact same thing every time and I love it every time. But
It,
it's definitely not the best thing in the world.
but the thing is as well, it's like I think he had this exact same match with Eddie Kingston in the G1, and for some reason I loved that match and I thought it was tremendous. But then he had a similar match against probably Hanare and Shingo, and I wasn't such a big fan of those matches. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why I like some issue matches and why some issue matches I'm like, this was just another issue match, where some of them stand out. But this one was certainly a standout for everyone. Like, yeah, the match of the weekend plaudit certainly seemed deserved.
Yeah, I loved it. So I'm a big Luke Jacobs guy. The first
I
time I
love
saw
him.
him
Oh,
was I think Royal Quest 2. He was there, was part of the Northwest Strong Tag Team.
yep.
Um, yeah, I don't even know his partner's name. I was all so impressed with Luke Jacobs.
Poor Ethan Allen, he got injured, and Luke Jacobs just shot into stardom.
So seeing him, I believe was it Epic Encounter where he beat Tom Lawler.
Yeah.
Oh, great moment for him. A great match. I had tons of fun watching that one. So there's a little New Japan connection there. So seeing him beat Tom Lawler, seeing him take Ishii to the limit in what a lot of people are calling the best match of the weekend, and knowing that he wants to work in New Japan, like, let's fucking go, eh?
He is. I would just, if it, like to say, how would you describe RKJ? And we couldn't. I think there's a very easy way to describe Luke Jacobs. He is
beef.
he's that, but he is the white Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah, oh yeah. We can call him that.
He's gonna stand up, he's gonna chop, he's gonna forearm, he's gonna brainbuster, he is literally, he even like has the hoisted up pants. Like, I love that look on a wrestler, by the way. It's awesome. But yeah, no, like you, I think Luke Jacobs is one of the best things we've got going on the UK independent scene at the moment. I wonder if they could get away with shoehorning him into a best of Super Juniors because he's not a tall guy. But you know, it depends. Like, you know, when Shingo,
Taller than Ishii, isn't he?
if they can make Shingo a junior, they can make anyone a junior.
That's the truth. Yeah, we can kayfabe the scale. No big deal. Yeah, I think it was after Epic Encounter describing the match to Rafe, I called him Baby Walter, and I think that's probably the best. Baby Gunter now.
Yeah.
That's what I would call him. The kid he's fun, and that moment when he's beating down Ishii and Ishii fires up and he's like, all right, come on, we'll get down. And he keeps beating down Ishii and Ishii fires up and he just looks around and goes, oh fuck, man.
Yeah, like the bit in the corner is she puts his arms on both the corner ropes and Luke Jacobs trying to forearm out and he's just looking around at the crowd like, what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah. Jesus. I think at that point he knew he fucked up. So going on to the RevPro Undisputed British Women's Title 3-way match, Alex Windsor defeats Hyan and Mickie James, the hardcore country legend. Mickie James, women's wrestling, former women's wrestling champion, on so many different promotions. This match was good, and I think the fans really disrespected the wrestlers lot during it.
Oh man, like literally the whole match, no exaggeration, the hardcore country from one group of people, hardcore country repeated back from another group of people. It was impossible to pay attention to this match as a fan in the crowd. You were just wishing these dudes would shut the hell up.
I had two dudes right in front of me chanting hardcore country every 4 seconds or whatever it was for 15 minutes and 34 seconds.
Yeah, it just made the match impossible to watch. Clearly, you could see Alex trying to get the crowd back, like doing heelish stuff. And it just wouldn't work. Like, I felt awful for them. Like, I think Hyan is fantastic.
Yep.
She was in the fatal, was it a triple threat or a 4-way match at the last show, Epic Encounter?
Yes.
Whatever it was, like, she was fantastic in that. She really shone bright. She was great in this. But yeah, they could not get going. The crowd would not let them get going.
And I get it, like being excited to see someone like Mickie James in your local home promotion. And you could tell that at first she was really digging it. She's like, "Oh shit, they
Yeah.
like me here," and then it was like, "Oh no, they're not laughing with me." They're kind of making fun of the moment, which is really shitty. So I think that maybe London owes an apology to Mickey James and Hyann and Alex Windsor for that point.
Yeah, I agree, man. They ruined that match for sure.
Okay, so let's go on to Michael Oku with Amira, the OJMO Michael Oku defeating Trent Seven with Levi Muir in 19 minutes and 59 seconds. So I love Michael Oku.
Yep.
Huge Michael Oku nerd. The very first show I ever went to in England, the very first face I ever saw when I got into the venue was Michael Oku. He was there. He was the one that checked my ticket when I went in. He showed me where the seat was. Like, I love Michael Oku. It's my wife's favorite British wrestler. The guy that she loves seeing the most on the scene is Michael Oku. She constantly tells anyone who listens, "Oh, he fell on me at this one at this one event," and blah blah blah. I've seen so many matches of his. Of course, like there's no way to say that I've seen all of them because the dude travels everywhere to do everything. He's absolutely fantastic as far as being a babyface in peril. I think there's no one that does it better. He's got mountains of charisma. He's great at being a cocky heel. He's great at having these matches where he can just get beaten the fuck down for 15 minutes and then come back and pull out a victory at the last minute that will have you just cheering your fucking socks off. And yet this one didn't do it for me. I don't know
Wow.
what didn't stir the fucking sauce for me. I don't know if it was because it was a plunder match and maybe it was because it was 20 minutes and it should have maybe been 15. There was a lot of spots where like they would set up the table and then there was a lot of milling around,
Yeah.
like figuring out what to do. I just wasn't feeling it. I think something about the night, something about the matches that had come before it, the matches that were coming after it. I don't know, man. It didn't do it for me. I love Michael Oku with all my heart. I think Trent Seven's entertaining as shit. Levi Muir was making me laugh. I couldn't deal it. I didn't dig it.
Dude, Levi Muir is intimidating as hell. That dude,
Yeah, he
the
is.
shape that man is in is
Yeah.
one of the best in the whole of the wrestling world. It is unbelievable. But yeah, no, I certainly get your point, and I think overbooked is the simple way of saying it. Like there was certainly a lot going on that didn't need to be going on, but like you said, Oku is the perfect underdog, and he kind of has to be because he isn't a big dude. He's not going to make anyone believe he's the strong champion. He's going to dominate people. He's always got to fight from underneath, and he does it so well. So it works out brilliantly. I think like it's certainly had its moments. Like Amira getting put through the table was outrageous. Like in the big ball gown, red dress, Trent having to jump from the apron to reach the table. Like it wasn't set up right next to the ring. Was amazing. But again, it's kind of like if you're a Rev Pro fan, you've seen Amira be in peril and then Michael Oku react appropriately because his partner, fiance, wife, I don't know what the story is. But his partner, has just taken a move she shouldn't have taken, and Michael Oku retaliates in force. I think we see it. The Will Ospreay match, of course, probably the best match of Michael Oku's career, happened there. And it worked a million times better there. Michael Oku was like he was shot out of a cannon in that and absolutely went after Will. But I'm kind of like, Michael Oku gets his title. He gets the big moment in Copperbox. He finally gets the horse stat and he deserves it. He's been such a hallmark of Rev Pro these past few years. The post match, yikes.
Yeah, that was very awkward. Spike Trevay, I'm not a huge fan. So like when he popped up, I was like, oh, okay, Spike Trevay versus Michael Oku will be pretty cool. And then they're playing the video package of Spike Trevay, and everyone's
I think everyone held their fucking breath when those Ravens and it was
oh
like,
my god!
Do you remember me and all this stuff? I was like, oh my
no.
god, they cannot be doing this. They're not that thick.
The former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion that shall not be named. We all kind of held our breath in terror for that one, but then it was Spike Trevay. It's okay, it's all right. And so then he pops up in the ring behind Oku and just kind of stands there for a few minutes, like nothing really happened.
Standing there menacingly.
ooh, I'm in your head. I'm in your head. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I just didn't do it for me. No, I think, yeah, the plunder match, maybe it would have gone off a little bit better if we hadn't just seen him win the belt with almost that exact same match against
Yeah,
Okan. There was a lot of plunder, a lot of walk and brawl going off with
yeah.
Okan there.
Again, as well, you had the whole thing of Gideon got involved in the last one, and Amira made the save, and then Levi Mule was going to get involved, and Amira made the save. Like it was kind. That's actually a really great point. It was kind of repetitive of the last title match.
Yeah, and I like Okan a lot more than I like Trent Seven. So
Yeah, yeah. I love
we'll
Trent Seven to be fair.
I do too. But yeah, it didn't do it for me. I love Michael Oku, and I love to see the level of competition that they can bring in to have him against um the level of heel wrestlers that he could go up against at this point now. It's pretty mouthwatering because, like you said, he's an ultimate underdog, and he's a fantastic baby face who can fight from underneath like nobody else. So let's see. I'm not holding my breath for Spike Trevay, but we'll see.
No, I'm not looking forward to that one.
And then finally for the night, Will Ospreay and Shingo Takagi in London. Hey, how about it? Oh my
That's
god.
wild, isn't it, man? Like it got the big old 5 stars from Uncle Meltzer. They've had these 6 singles matches now, 2 of them 5 stars, and the other 4 were above 5 stars. Will must just love getting into the ring with Shingo. It's clearly it was a case of Will, who do you want to wrestle at the Rev Pro anniversary show? Who's going to put bums in seats? Who can you put a banger a match with? And Will was like, let's get Shingo over here for the first time. Well, let's get Shingo over to London for the first time. Sorry, which is wild considering the Rev Pro connection. But yeah, it was Shingo versus Will. I think it was probably the weakest of the lot, but the weakest Shingo versus Will match is still better than the best of lots of other people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine the other day. He's a big AEW fan, and he had said something about how he considers Orange Cassidy the wrestler of the year because he's exceeded expectations. And I said, okay, Will Ospreay exists, guy. Like, like he is on planet Earth. And he says, oh, but Will Ospreay, he's set the bar so high, and he's meeting it. He's meeting it every time. But Cassidy exceeded expectations. And I said, okay, exceeding expectations is one thing, but when you set the bar at 5-star or better and constantly hit that over and over again, he got a 4.25 match out of Chris Jericho. He drugged Chris Jericho kicking and screaming from a gentleman's 3, like all the way up to like a 4.25 match. The guy's otherworldly.
I think
he's a mutant. He's a freak.
I think the big difference as well, I certainly hear the Orange Cassidy remark too about being Wrestler of the Year. Orange Cassidy, for me, like, look, I don't watch AEW before we get into it. I was at All In. I was at All In. I keep up with it through Twitter, Reddit, stuff like that. But I've not watched a Dynamite show in years. I've not watched pay-per-view in years, other than All In, of course. But yeah, I think from what I gather about Orange Cassidy though, is it's quantity over quality. The dude is up to his 33rd defense, I think I saw, against John Moxley at All Out. Like, how many of those matches do people remember? And how many of those matches, 4-star above, 5-star above, whatever however you rank stuff. Whereas Ospreay, I think you can pretty quickly say you got the Kenny Omega back-to-back, you got the Tetsuya Naito match, you got the Okada match, the ELP match in the G1, the Shingo match now, the Chris Jericho match. He might not have the quantity that Orange Cassidy have, but the quality is far outweighs anyone else this year.
Yeah, it's that scene in SpongeBob where Neptune is making 1 million Krabby Patties and SpongeBob makes just the one.
Yes. Oh man, that is the perfect analogy. And as well, I think, like I said about Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay is doing it everywhere. He's done it in AEW. He's done it in New Japan. He's done it on the British scene. Dude's going to show up on Impact. He's probably put on bangers on Independence that I'm not even aware of. He's doing it in Rev Pro. He's doing it worldwide, whereas Orange Cassidy is doing it on Wednesday nights.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the problem, is that Will Ospreay doesn't have the eyes on him, and maybe that leads to Will Ospreay
Don't say it.
I know.
Don't
I know. I don't want to put that evil into the universe. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but we have to start preparing ourselves. I hate it when people go to AEW because at that point I just have to forget they existed. I pulled a Jay White shirt out of my closet the other day, and I was just like, guess I can start wearing this to work now.
It is. I think I have to separate the human from the wrestler in those scenarios. Like, I want Will Ospreay, the human, if he wants to go to AEW and he wants to make money and it helps him have a better relationship with his his partner and his stepchild. If that's what he wants, then more power to him. But me as a fan of Will Ospreay, the wrestler, I never want to see that dude leave New Japan.
Yeah, I don't want to see him leave New Japan. I don't want to see him take any time off the British scene, like anything like that, man. I would miss him too much. It would hurt. It would hurt my soul. Yeah, this match might have been, like you said, probably the weakest of the matches, but I mean, like you said, the worst Shingo and Ospreay matches, definitely better than a day of digging ditches for sure. Afterwards, Chris Jericho does the Chris Jericho things, comes out with a mask on, like we didn't know that it was. Who is that giant
who could possibly be under
in
the same Bushi mask?
I was like, well, it's either Chris Jericho or Dick Togo at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's never Bushi. It's never Bushi.
It's weird, isn't it? I did have at one point the dudes in front of me, the hardcore country chanter guys. I heard the one lean over to him and he goes, Chris Jericho just showed up in Rev Pro. And I was like, oh fuck, that is a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that sentence is absolutely absurd. I kept on saying on the way home, I was like, how have we gotten to the point where Chris Jericho is in a Revolution Pro Wrestling ring?
Oh man, what a moment. What a moment for the history of fucking Rev Pro.
Yeah.
And possibly even British wrestling in general. Like, just what a absolute banger of a weekend. So thoughts on the show as a whole?
I think it was a special occasion, man. It was so fun to be in that crowd. Like there's nothing on that list that will be on my match of the year list. I don't think there's anything that I'll necessarily remember in ring long term, but I'm gonna remember the moments. I'm gonna remember that Shibata entrance that's ingrained in my mind. I'm gonna remember the pop for Sky Blue because that was just so unexpected and a great way to kick off the show. I'm gonna remember hating anyone who chanted hardcore country deep in my soul.
After the first 3 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, and like I'm gonna, the reaction for Ospreay, and when his music stopped finished, and the music goes, oh Ospreay, and the crowd continued it. The smile on that boy's face, he couldn't believe it. I was hoping that would happen all in. It didn't happen. But yeah, like that was just such a special moment, like for Rev Pro. Like Andy coming out 11 years to the day as well. Like, what's the chances of it falling so like in such a perfect way? Yeah, I've got a special place in my heart for Rev Pro. They introduced me to independent pro wrestling. Will Ospreay was on the first show I ever went to, and now I get to have stupid DM conversations with the man. Just Revolution Pro Wrestling changed my perception of wrestling entirely. I was WWE pilled. I didn't know WWE wrestling existed outside of WWE until I discovered Revolution Pro Wrestling. So I credit them for a lot. So to be there for that night, to have over 4,000 people, their biggest show, it's just special.
All right. Well, I agree with everything you said, man. It was a moment for me. I think it may not be the best match I've ever seen live, but I think seeing Shingo and Will in person was probably my favorite wrestling experience. That was pretty fantastic. Let's go ahead and we're going to move on, and I'm going to have you read the tea leaves and prognosticate a little bit. Okay. Get your tarot cards out, whatever you need to do. Next, the next event at the Copperbox, Royal Quest 3. We have a tease for Will versus Zach for the US UK transcontinental title, whatever they want to call it. If this is the rebirth of the white belt.
Exactly. If it's the rebirth of the white belt, I don't care what they call it. I don't care how they get there. If all roads lead to the Intercontinental Championship, I'm all aboard.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like to see? I mean, some of the people that are booked for the show already, Yoda Tsuji making his way back. Ishii, of course. I think Naito's on there. Like, what are you hoping to see at the next show? This Royal Quest.
I think it's difficult at the moment. Okay, actually, simple answer: Stardom. Put some Stardom talent on this card.
Oh,
Defend. Get Mayu Iwatani over. Get Julia over. Get them both over. Let them both defend their titles. I'll be a happy boy. I'll be over the moon.
This is we love Julia on this podcast,
Oh
so that
man,
would be absolutely fantastic.
They say it'll be a homecoming of sorts for the woman, man. She's got, she's part British. Zack Sabre, Julia. There's a reason those two teamed up.
Mhm.
Man, I'd like to get her over, defend that strong women's championship. But I think the difficulty now is that there's not many on the New Japan roster that haven't come over to the UK at some point, whether it be through Rev Pro or whether it be through Royal Quest 1 or Royal Quest 2. So I think for me now, it is certainly the matches. Like I hadn't met Shingo, I hadn't seen Shingo wrestle outside of Japan before, but now thankfully we had the Rev Pro show. So that's one ticked off the list. Yeah, I don't think we get Sonata defending the title. I think that he's in a tag match of some variety, shape or form. Naito and Tsuji versus Sonata, and another member of Just Five Guys, perhaps. I'd say Zack versus Will Ospreay is obviously set in stone. I don't think they tease that without, New Japan aren't going to tease something like that if it's not going to come to fruition.
Kind of puts the kibosh on the Yoda Tsuji train, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, exactly. I'm surprised they did do it, but of course, Zack Sabre Jr. is keeping kayfabe. Keep hold of the belt, and I'll challenge you for Royal Quest 3. But yeah, I think the dream is Shibata in a New Japan ring, but obviously, if they haven't done that in Japan past Wrestle Kingdom 16, I doubt we get a Royal Quest. But yeah, I think you've got a solid base now. It's Naito, Sonata, Shingo, Tsuji, Will, Ishii, Zack, Tanahashi. The majority of them were on Royal Quest last year. I think they all were except for Tsuji.
Tsuji showed up at Royal Quest.
Oh, Tsuji, of course he did. But yeah, he was still a young lion. Yep. Shingo wasn't on it last year. No. I think Shingo's the only new addition so far. So it'd be nice to get some new faces. But I think the only way you get new faces now is you get a Stardom guys on it.
That's fucking what a call, dude. Good job. So I have to go back and watch Royal Quest 1, but I remember after the match, Sonata was challenging Okada for the title, and I believe he said, "Once we come back here, I will be world champion." And
no way did he.
Kind of fucking weird.
No way.
I swear that's what he said, and I think it might have been something like, "Next time I see England, I'll be the champion," or whatever. But I believe that it actually came out, "When I come here, I will be champion."
Oh, so he's not talking about London. He's talking about the Copperbox. So you can Royal Quest 2. He might have been there, but that wasn't the Copperbox.
That's right. So that's pretty cool. Let's go on to the next one. Okay. Let's think about Rev Pro 12th anniversary show. What are you hoping to see from Rev Pro as a whole? Not necessarily what matches, but like what sort of vibe? Where do you want Rev Pro to be next year?
Okay, I'm gonna go to the same well. They've talked about Stardom on their they do their Friday Q&A, of course. They said pre-pandemic they were close to having Stardom guys over. And Stardom guys just they are pretty isolated. They don't do much. They don't do anything outside of their main promotion in Japan. We're kind of seeing Utami Hayashishita went to GCW. That was really cool. Of course, now Julia's appearing on New Japan Strong shows in America. So hopefully that connection can get built. And of course, they've got the CMLL relationship now. They've got this show happening in Manchester that's a joint CMLL show. So hopefully, we get some of that. I think the difficulty now with All In as well, when they announced Wembley Stadium again, I just think this all felt special. Like it all felt like a one-off. And I think you've instantly, not that this weekend is diminished, but next year it won't feel as special. So I don't know that Rev Pro can run a Copperbox again. I think they can run a decent sized venue, but I don't know that they get 4,000 people into a venue again off the back of All In being in town, because it was all such a special occasion and it was all just, it all clicked and it all fell right. But yeah, I mean, a year is such a long time, perhaps. Kosei Fushi's the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. Perhaps Ryohei Oiwa's returned from Noah and he's top dog in New Japan. And we're all biting it a bit to see, them come over. Do you know who I do want to come over, actually, of the current roster is Boltin Oleg. I love that man.
Absolutely, dude.
Give him a match at Royal Quest 3, please, and that will make the week. That will make the show for me.
I would love that so much. Oh my gosh. The dude he's an absolute hoss. He's just country strong,
He is
right?
a freak
I love
in
it.
the best way.
In the best way. In the best way at all. Okay. Finally, you're going to have to really think on this one. This is something that Rafe and I have done with a couple of our guests. Normally we do it on our pre-show where we keep it on Patreon, but I'm going to ask you this because we're not recording anything for Patreon this week, you and I. So if you could run a wrestling show anywhere in the world, you get 3 matches, anybody in their prime, give it to me.
Man,
Where do you have
Jesus, this is a lot
It's a lot.
to dump on me. Wow.
I can give you mine if you want, like an example.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so mine was I want it in Trafalgar Square.
What?
I want it in Trafalgar Square.
Literally just in the square, open
in the
air.
square.
Oh
in the
God.
square. I want so the first match would be Oku versus Okan so that my wife would come. The second match, I want a walk-in brawl between Bruiser Brody and Big Van Vader all over Trafalgar Square up into the fucking museum. Third match, Tetsuya Naito versus Eddie Guerrero.
Oh my God.
Okay,
that is a crazy dream match. That last one.
That's my perfect show.
God. Okay. I'll
Rafe's
start
was
with
in a Lawson station. It's where he wanted his.
I mean, Suzuki is wrestling on a bullet train, like in the very near future.
I've seen that movie.
For DDT, and they've sold it out. They've sold out the bullet train.
There's like 12 seats. It's not a big deal.
Okay. God, this is a lot of pressure with no thinking time. All right, I want Shibata involved, obviously. Probably Shibata versus like a Tenryu or a Takayama.
Oh, I love Tenryu.
Like
angry old man Tenryu from like 1997.
Exactly. Yeah. Like some of my favorite wrestling is young, brash, dickhead Kenta just getting his shit kicked in by veterans.
Yeah.
Just like young Noah Kenta just trying to fight Kobashi, trying to fight Takayama, trying to fight Tenryu, and they just cave his fucking skull in at some point. They're just like, enough of this little prick. So yeah, I'll go Shibata versus Tenryu. I know they had a match once upon a time, but Prime Shibata and Old Man Tenryu, not Prime Tenryu, pissed off Old Man Tenryu. Yes. Who else am I going for? Who are some of my favorite wrestlers? Who would be a good opponent for Zack Sabre Jr.?
Ooh. Bret Hart?
Maybe. My Western knowledge has just gone to shit in years recent though, because I'm just so fixated on Japan. Dude, this is too much pressure.
See, that's the thing is you don't want to think about it ahead of time.
There's too much. Okay, we'll go Kenta Kobashi versus Prime Kobashi, Parm Okada.
Oh, okay. All right.
That breaks
this is like 700-day champion Okada.
This breaks the Meltzer scale.
Okay.
And then last match, do you know what? That Naito Eddie Guerrero match is unreal. That
right?
Is...
I could just see Naito's like Tranquilo shit pissing Eddie Guerrero off so much. How entertaining would that be?
That's fantastic, man. Right, last match. Who do I adore?
You have to leave someone off. You have to leave someone off. And I left Liger off of mine because I couldn't see a place to fit him in.
Okay, we're gonna go Zack Sabre Jr. Oh wait. Let's go Manami Toyota.
Yes.
Versus Mayu Iwatani.
Oh,
I'm just gonna go for the two goats, the current goat and the all-time goat. As for a location, I want to say like in my flat. That sounds very selfish. Tokyo Dome is a great venue to be in, but all the noise goes up and you lose it. I wanna say Korakuen Hall, but that just sounds like a cop out. I'll say Korakuen Hall, and I'm gonna try to think of something before we wrap this up. Somewhere better, somewhere more original.
Go put it on you were playing football earlier today. Put it on your football pitch.
Oh man, I thought of that. I was gonna say the Valley Charlton Flex Stadium. But yeah, no, I don't think it's deserving of that with the state we're in at the moment.
Oh yeah, I've got a friend at work who's a Charlton Athletic fan, and he's
really?
constantly like, "Oh my god, shit the bed again this week."
Yeah. Well,
So
we won today at least.
oh, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, not York Hall. Maybe just like some kind like the 229 or the cockpit, just some kind of really proper in-them venue where you're on top of the action.
I love
Copperbox is
that.
like that. You're on top of it in Copperbox as well.
There's not a bad seat in
Yeah,
Copperbox.
if you're on any of the art shit. Yeah, but definitely those matches, and I'll go with a cop-out Corcoran Hall.
Okay. Right on. Well, that should probably be the end of it, man. Do you want to give a final shout out to your socials and anything else like that?
Yeah, of course. You can follow me on Twitter at CiaranRH93. I should have mentioned it on the top as well. I work with Wrestle in at WrestleINN. We do loads of podcasts, loads of interviews. We've got cool stuff on the Patreon. I do podcasts, I do video content, interviews galore. We recently had in the past couple of months, we've had 2 first ever English interviews. One with Micah from Stardom, and another one with Chie Koshikawa from Choco Pro / Gato Move. I've interviewed Great Khan in the past. I've interviewed Will Ospreay in the past, trying to arrange another one with Will Ospreay. Trying to arrange an interview with Gabe Kidd at the moment. If you're an AEW fan, Lee Moriarty, I'll hopefully get that one over the fence. AEW are just very difficult. But yeah, no, at Wrestle in INN, lots and lots of cool stuff, especially if you like your Japanese wrestling. If you like WWE, don't come to us.
And you could check out Noob Japan that you used to do. You could check out
That's
one
on the
about
Patreon.
Masahiro Chono,
That
which
one's not.
featured me.
Yeah, that was the most well laid out one by far. Usually it's just jumping all over the place, and Curtis came on and it was so methodical and in order from beginning to the end of Chono's career. I love it.
I love that. Like so Masahiro Chono was born in 1960, and you were like, "Uh-oh."
I was like, damn, like I usually say it, and people are just like, they just go off on crazy tangents because everyone's so excited speaking about the people. But Curtis, had it so well structured. It was awesome. But yeah, that one's free on Noob Japan. Just search Wrestle in wherever you get your podcast. And you can check out Curtis talking all about Masahiro Chono and schooling me on the greatness that is Chono.
He's just the best. He's just the coolest dude in the world. Okay, well, thank you very much, Ciaran, for all of the information and the insight that you've thrown in about this show. It was a great time. It was great seeing you again. Great talking to you here on the show. I can't wait to see you at the next York Hall show. We'll rub elbows there.
You got to be at Royal Quest, right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be at Royal Quest. What section did you get?
Quest. I'm like front row. So as you've got the entrance ramp, I'm front row, and then the 2 seats next to the ramp. I lucked out big time with the seats I got.
Yeah, you did. Holy
I can't wait to take my fuck TV Asahi sign because they won't be able to stop me.
Gift this, fuckers.
Yeah.
Yes. I got like row 6 or 7 in the 104s just so I can get a good TV look.
I kind of regretted my seats at Rev Pro because whilst I had a great views for the entrances for the matches, I was kind of ducking and diving, trying to look around heads. Whereas if you're in those rafters at Copperbox, man, you're loving life.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's go ahead and say thank you again for Ciaran. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for coming on and spreading the love and giving us a lot of insight about New Japan and the Rev Pro British scene in general. If you'd like to hear more from our sister shows, you can check out my show, the Throw and Dice Podcast, where I talk about tabletop wargaming, tabletop role playing, and all of the hobby that's fit the hobby within those sort of things. If you'd like to hear more from Rafe, you can check out his other show, the Faces and Feels Cast, where he talks to various independent wrestlers and gets to know them on a personal level. If you would like to hear more from our sister shows, Hot Friends, you can check out the Count Out Podcasting Network, where you can see shows like Your Daily Dose of Death, and you can see Ring Post Radio. You can see lots of other shows where you get any kind of wrestling you could possibly imagine. Stardom Road is one that maybe Ciaran might be into. Stardom Road is a great
Trent's
show.
At One Up Culture's on that, right? Trent, doesn't he guest on it from occasion? I'm sure.
I think so.
I'm sure.
Who's
the host of Stardom Road? Is it Scott? Is Scott the host of Stardom Road?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Trent's been on it. Trent's my boy. Trent's another Aussie. Shout out to the Aussies.
We love the Aussies here in the Count Out. So if you'd like to hear more from them, please feel free to check out all those shows for free, or you can go to patreon.com/countoutpod. And for $5 American dollar dues a month, you can check out extra content from all of our shows, not just this one but every show on the Count Out Podcasting Network. You can listen, you can find, God damn it, I'm fucking this up. You can find me on Instagram at eldestructo83. You can find Rafe on Instagram and Twitter at Faces Feels Cast. And at this point, I think it's time to just say, please rate, please subscribe, listen or die, keep it right, keep it tight, and keep it short.
This has been a Count Out Podcast. Ring Post Radio is the only show hosted by Ryan Knightsey and Scotty Edwards that talks about the entire world of professional wrestling. With new episodes coming out every Sunday, there is absolutely no reason to not listen to real, honest wrestling opinions from two crazy maniacs. Have a hot boy summer and listen along to Ring Post Radio every Sunday on the Count Out Network.